Hello, quasi-random farm. In this video, we are going to break down a 16-inch Dewalt 60 volt max brushless chainsaw. Now, this is not going to be a full strip down in the sense that I'm taking apart the plastic body. I'm just going to show you how to remove the chain guard, how to clean around in here, and just keep your tool optimal and functioning to the absolute best way imaginable. So going to get a couple of quick tools and I'll show you what they are. I have a very cheap brush with some really hard coarse bristles. So this thing is really good if you got some really thick dust that's kind of gotten down, and I'll show you shortly where it's kind of gummed up in the corners. This thing is awesome because you can use this brush to help get in there and clean that gunk out. And you definitely don't want that stuff piling up. It can clog up where the oil feeds out to the actual bar and chain to keep it well lubricated so that everything can keep moving. And you don't want something like that to happen. You also don't want something that's damp and gummy to kind of hang around and possibly corrode the chain or the bar, causing potential long-term damage. Another thing, and I'm not going to move the camera because I've got it fixed, but it's just a vacuum, and that's literally just to suck out any kind of extra debris, gunk, if you've got oil that's clumped up or anything like that. One thing with the oil, since the wood chips and debris kind of siphons through and shoots down the bottom, you also figure this is where the oil's coming out as well on the inside. So as that's happening, oil can kind of move around, and the oil is perfect for that gunk to stick in there and get really nasty and gunky. So first off, you've got this little bit right here. This is not so much tightening as it is extending or retracting the blade marginally, which is going to give it an appearance to you to be tighter or looser so that it can come apart. So you want, in theory, a little bit of give. So like you see, this has a little bit of flexibility and give. So that's good. You don't want it crazy tight to the point that it's struggling to pull around itself. You also don't want it loose to the point that it's going to fly off and, whack you in the head or something insane. So you've got this bit right here. You're just going to pull this up. This is your lock. So now this is actually screwing onto this screw here. And all we're doing is just turning this. You're turning it counterclockwise. This is going to loosen this bit up. So you just get this thing off. Now, as you take this, you can see you got lots of sawdust and mess that's crumbled up and stuck up here and gummed up in the corners. You got the same thing going on around the blade. You got all kind of gunk and mess up in here. You got gunk over here. Gunk, it's really rough. So pardon the noise. We're just going to vacuum this out. And now for this, the brush really isn't a necessity in my opinion. So what I've been doing this morning, I've been sawing up some oak trees that are still down from Hurricane Helene. We're still working on cleaning that up, probably going to be for quite a while. But with that being said, the oak is drier and harder, so it's not as like nasty as, say, if you were sawing up a pine tree, where you're going to have all kind of gunk and mess stuck in here, and it'll just be all ridiculous and nasty. So it's not as bad. And I've cleaned, like you can see where the oil drains, or you may not be able to see actually, but clean that up pretty good too. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn this. Well, I'm going to attempt to turn this. Looks like we're not turning this at all. Well, taking off the bar, and I'm going to turn this over. I'm going to go ahead and do a quick vacuum. Just keep my chain locked on here. A quick vacuum of this internal part that I couldn't get to before, and the back side of the bar, and then we'll be right back at it. Okay. And now it's good and clean in here. You can actually see where the extra oil is starting to flow. You've got no blockage. Everything is really, really good and smooth going. Now, I'm going to slide this back on here. And you're just going to want to make sure that your bar locks in right there. Oop. Well, I'm trying. Gonna have to loosen that up a little bit. And so if you can see, watch this bit right here, this little bit. So this thing is it's probably really hard to tell because the movement's so insignificant, but it's extending outward, so that would in theory tighten the blade. And now this is going to retract that little bit, which in theory would loosen the blade. And I'm just going to pull it really, really close so that I'll have more flexibility to get the bar locked back in really, really good. And now there's still a little bit of gunk and debris, but you also figure I've got lots more cleanup to do. I just did some quick stuff this morning. We're going to finish making lunch, and then I'll probably be right back to it. So I'm not going to worry about doing like fine detailing and really getting in there and cleaning everything. This is just a quick video to show you the basics on what you need to do. My chain got a little loose on the bar. I'm just tightening it up just a bit manually by hand over here, getting the blades back in the grooves, just to get it easier on me when I go to put this back up so it's not flopping around everywhere. And now you're just going to line these teeth up here, and I got to find that little notch. And so now you see, oops, got the chain caught under here. That's not good. Okay. So now that's back in there. So now what I'm going to do is turn it the opposite direction to, air quotes, tighten the blade. And now that's really tight right there, but I just want to get that locked in really good so that I can get this attachment back on. And then I'll loosen it or tighten it accordingly, just kind of based off whatever I need. So all you got to do is line that up, and you're going to go clockwise, and you're literally just screwing this in. Or I thought I was doing a pretty poor job here. Just bear with me. And this thing can take a beating, so you don't have to baby it or be careful if your chain loosens or becomes detached from the bar while you're cleaning it. It's really not that big of a deal. You just got to line it back up, line the teeth back up, slide it back into that groove in the bar, and you're set. Now, let's see how... We got a pretty good... Let's see if you can see this. That's a good amount of give, so it's still tight enough to where it's easily going to cling to the bar, but it's loose enough to where it can pull itself without any kind of serious hardship or anything. Now, I left the battery in. Still got a little bit of charge from where we've been cleaning up this morning. Just so I can get it a good run, I like to run it a second after I've put it back together, just to make sure that it's fully functional and say I didn't accidentally do something wrong, because anything could happen. I am going to go ahead and clean up this other little bit right here, though. And just really quick on this side, so there's where you apply your oil. Let's see if I can get that a little centered up better. There's where you apply the oil, and we still have about half a tank of oil, which is fine. I don't have any intention of topping that off at the moment. Here's where your airflow is, so I obviously wanted to hose out that area pretty well. And now again, the battery's in here. We're going to turn the safety guard off, so now it can activate, and I want to test it just to make sure I put everything back together appropriately. And we did not. I did not tighten it well enough. It is loosening, so I'm going to tighten this up. All right. And that's a little better. And now see, what appeared to be good to me actually was not that good. So I'm going to test it out again just to make sure it's not too loose. All right, so that's good. Now I'm going to let this battery charge. We're going to finish making lunch. Also really brief on this 16-inch Dewalt brushless 60-volt max chainsaw. So I think that the 16-inch is the sweet spot because I've got the 20. The 20 is really, really hard on these batteries. So one thing that I found, the battery doesn't necessarily deplete in the 20-inch, but it does overheat and locks itself down. So when your chainsaw shuts off sporadically, it's not actually shutting off sporadically. I think it's an internal safety thing to stop your battery from burning itself out. Whereas with the 16-inch, this thing is still a workhorse. It can absolutely burn through just about anything you need for most circumstances, but it doesn't have the power draw with such rapid force that the 20-inch does to burn out the battery. So this battery still has a little bit of charge, did not shut off, did not lock up, did not have any issues. The only reason that we stopped was literally just to come and finish lunch. And then after lunch, we'll hit back to it. And I'm going to have this battery charging while we're cooking. So this video, just quick breakdown of your 16-inch Dewalt brushless chainsaw. Highly recommended. Absolutely fantastic tool to use on the farm. And very, very easy to clean. Love this guy. But that's all for this. This is the Quasi-Random Farm. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you appreciated this video, please leave any comments down below. We really, really appreciate your support, and I hope everybody has a great day. We'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.